What's up, everyone? My name is Rad, and I am here today bringing you my guide on Himeko. Yes, first 5-star guide for Honkai Star Rail. As you can see, I'm on my Asia account, which is my main. I grind 2 accounts because I thoroughly enjoy this game, and well, let's just say I have a lot of time on my hands. I'll be going over her traces, talent, technique, Eidolon, recommended icons, relics, and team compositions. I'm going to make all of my character guides as concise but detailed as possible. She will be level 50 and Ascension 3 for this guide. Timestamps will be listed down below in the description. Without further ado, let's drop that transition. Traces. First up, Saw Blade Tuning. This is Himeko's normal attack. It deals fire damage equal to X amount of her attack to a singular enemy. Next up, Molten Detonation. This is her skill, which is a blast attack, so it deals AoE or area of effect damage. It will deal fire damage equal to X amount of her attack to a single enemy, but also it'll deal fire damage equal to X amount of her attack to enemies nearby as well. Her skill is great because AoE damage is nice. It also pairs well with her talent, which I'll talk about in just a bit. Heavenly Flare. This is her ultimate. This is also an AoE attack. It deals fire damage equal to X amount of her attack to all enemies, and she will replenish 5 energy for every enemy defeated. Against lower tiered enemies, this is incredible. If you were to defeat all 5, you would instantly replenish 25 energy for her. It's very good though. It loses a bit of its value when going against bosses, I'd say, because at that point you really aren't making the best use of the energy replenishment. Victory Rush. This is her talent. Upon an enemy inflicted with weakness break, which is when their shield depletes, she will gain 1 point of the effect charge. Can stack up to 3 times. Upon accumulating 3 or being fully charged when another party unit performs an action, Himeko will instantly do a follow-up attack that deals fire damage equal to X amount of her attack to all enemies, though this does consume her charge stacks. Also, upon entering the battle, she will passively have 1 point of charge ready to go. This synergizes well with her skill because her skill does AoE damage, and if you break multiple shields at the same time, you build up charge stacks easily. Also, this also applies to other party units in your team. So if they break shields, she also gains a stack through them as well, which is very, very nice. Thus, you're able to trigger her talent more frequently. Incomplete Combustion. This is her technique. Upon using her technique, it'll create a dimension that lasts for 15 seconds. When entering the battle, all enemies that were caught within the dimension have a 100% base chance to take increased fire damage by 10% for up to 2 turns. Though only one dimension can exist at the same time, this technique is good because any fire units in the party will have their fire damage boosted right off the bat in the beginning of the battle. Abilities. Starfire. Ascension 2 unlock. After performing an attack, there's a base chance of 50% to inflict burn on enemies for up to 2 turns. When enemies are inflicted with burn, they will receive fire damage over time equal to 30% of Himeko's attack at the beginning of each turn. Starfire is very good because now you're able to inflict burn on enemies with all of her attacks. It also increases her overall DPS due to the damage over time effect. Magma. Ascension 4 unlock. Her skill now deals 20% more damage to enemies who have burn damage over time inflicted on them. Solid because now her skill gets a damage buff. Benchmark Ascension 6. If Himeko's current HP is 80% or higher, she'll gain an overall 15% crit rate boost. Super good, especially when paired with shielders or units that provide taunts. Eidolons. Himeko's Eidolons are a combination of quality of life with some damage boosts mixed in. I'll be skipping over her E3 and E5 as they only add levels to her skills. E1, Childhood. Upon triggering her talent, which is Victory Rush, she will receive a 20% speed boost for 2 turns. Very good, as it enables her to perform her actions much sooner. If going for Eidolons, this is where I recommend to stop at. E2, Convergence, as she will dish out 15% more damage to enemies whose HP is 50% or lower. Decent, I'd say. It makes her defeat enemies a tad bit quicker when they are under that HP threshold. E4, Dedication. When Himeko's skill causes weakness break of an enemy, she'll recover 1 extra point of charge. It's nice because now you will gain 2 charge points instead of 1, and passively you have one when you enter battle through her talent. E6, Trailblaze. Himeko's ultimate now dishes out damage 2 extra times. Each hit now deals fire damage equal to 40% of the original damage to a random enemy. It's nice as well. Free damage, albeit it's RNG due to it being to a random enemy. Light cones. Now, Himeko has her own signature 5-star light cone in Honkai Star Rail. The thing is though, there is one that I personally think is better, but it's not out yet, but it'll be out soon. And that is actually Genuine's light cone. Before Dawn. This will increase her crit damage and also her skill and ultimate damage. As well, after using her skill or ultimate, you'll gain the effect Somnus Corpus. When you perform a follow-up attack, Somnus Corpus will be consumed, and now the follow-up attack damage is increased. I believe this works better on her because it synergizes incredibly well with her whole kit, and damage in this game scales a bit better than attack in my opinion. The other 5-star, of course, is Knight of the Milky Way. Her signature 5-star light cone. This will increase her attack for every enemy that is on the field, and when weakness break is caused, it will increase the damage dealt by her for 1 turn. Super solid light cone. I just think Before Dawn is better. For 4 stars, I recommend Today Is Another Day. Upon entering battle, it'll increase her overall damage based on her max energy. Damage will increase by X amount per point of energy, up to 160 energy. Very good, as it is just passive damage boost to everything. The series of Breakfast. I love the name of this light cone. My personal favorite. It'll increase her overall damage, but also for every enemy defeated, it'll increase her attack for up to 3 stacks. A nice combination of boosted overall damage, but also an attack increase as well. The Birth of the Self. It'll increase Himeko's follow-up attack damage, but also if the current HP of the enemy is equal to 50% or lower, it'll add another extra damage boost to her follow-up attacks by the same amount. So in this case, at Super Imposition 1, it'll be a 48% follow-up attack damage boost. This really buffs up her talent. For 3 stars, any of the ones currently available are good. Databank, it'll increase her ultimate damage. Passkey, she'll regenerate energy every turn upon using her skill. And Sagacity, when she uses her ultimate, she'll gain a attack boost for turns. Don't sleep on 3 stars. They are good, especially with superimpositions. Relics. This one is straightforward. I recommend a 4-piece set Firesmith of Lava Forging. You'll gain a 10% fire damage increase. It'll increase your skill damage by 12%, and after casting your ultimate, it'll increase your fire damage by 12% for the next attack. This is just a whole bunch of extra fire damage that also applies to her damage over time as well. For something as substitutes, any combination of 2+2 Firesmith of Lava Forging with Musketeer of Wild Wheat, or Firesmith of Lava Forging with Thief of Shooting Meteor. For planner ornaments, I'd say Talia, Kingdom of Banditry, mainly for the break effect it provides. A break effect is super underrated in my opinion, and it's pretty good. Space Sealing Station, mainly for the attack boost. There's also another one called Inert Salsoro that increases crit rate. And if her crit rate is 50% or higher, it'll increase her follow-up and ultimate damage by 15%. As for what stats to look out for on the body, you want crit rate, effect hit rate, or crit damage on the feet, speed, or attack percentage. And for the planner sphere, you want fire damage or break effect, and the link rope, attack percentage. Team compositions. For free to play, I'd recommend Natasha, Fire Trailblazer, Dan Hung, Himeko, March 7th, Asta, Herta, Himeko. Others, I'd say March 7th, Pella, Sampo, Himeko. This is one of mine, if not my personal favorite. The amount of damage over time applied in this group is pretty bonkers. Also, Bronya, Pella, Fire Trailblazer, Himeko. Honestly, any units that can either buff her or debuff enemies, you can definitely slot her in lots of teams. It's just about who you have and what playstyle you have fun with. Himeko is very special because I have a soft spot for her from playing Honkai Impact 3rd in the past. She's definitely an AoE specialist and a fantastic one at that. And also the swaggiest of everyone in Honkai Star Rail without a doubt. Though I will say early on in the game, she isn't as strong because I feel you need to level up her traces and unlock abilities as well. But regardless, I still think she is very good. If you do get a Himeko, do I recommend you level her up? I will say that it all depends on what your approach is for your teams. If you want someone who does great AoE and damage over time, then yes. But if you are more interested in singular burst attacks, then no. Alrighty, that's it. First 5-starter in the books. Awesome that it was Himeko. If you'd like, you can drop me a like or a dislike. I'm always open to constructive criticism. Also, if you've been enjoying the content, think about dropping me a subscription. We're over 250, on the road to 300. Besides that, my name is Rad. You are all awesome. See you later.